Long ago, in the heat of a secret war between sorcerers, the legendary Merlin took 3 apprentices under his wing: the loyal Balthazar, the brave Veronica, and the ambitious Horvath. Together, they learned Merlin's deepest secrets and skills, preparing for the ultimate battle against the dark forces. But one fateful day, an unstoppable evil made its move. Morgana, a sorceress with the power to raise an army of the dead, stormed Merlin's castle. She confronted Merlin with her powers, but Merlin, with his unmatched magic, was winning, until betrayal struck from within. Horvath, one of Merlin's own apprentice, turned against him, swayed by the promise of the power Morgana offered. With the betrayal, Merlin was disappointed and weakened. Morgana seized the moment and delivered the fatal blow, ending the greatest sorcerer's life. Her dark plan was now in motion, and the world was on the edge of destruction. In a desperate attempt to stop her, Veronica arrived just in time to make the ultimate sacrifice. She absorbed Morgana's twisted soul into her own body, knowing it would destroy her from the inside. As Morgana began tearing Veronica apart, Balthazar acted quickly. He trapped both Morgana and Veronica inside a mystical prison, the Grim Hold. Eventually, Horvath was also captured in the enchanted object, his betrayal sealed in the same fate. Balthazar rushed to his dying master. With his final breath, Merlin gave him the dragon ring, which can unleash unlimited power. His final command was to find the child destined to become the Prime Merlinian, who could become Merlin's successor and the only one who could fully destroy Morgana and save the world from darkness. Balthazar traveled the world handing special children the dragon ring and hoping it would choose one of them as the Prime Merlinian. Fast forward to the year 2000, a 10-year-old kid called Dave Stutler was just a normal boy living in New York City. During a field trip, he spotted Becky, on whom he had a major crush. Nervously, he scrawled a note, asking her if she wanted to be his girlfriend. He then watched on holding his breath as she picked up the note, replied, and left it on a bench. But when Dave tried to take it, the wind blew the note. Determined to know her answer, Dave chased after it down the streets. The wind led him into a mysterious shop called Arcana Cabana. It was full of odd, magical-looking objects, and Dave couldn't help but wander inside. As he walked by some of the odd antiques, he almost knocked one over. A man caught the antique object, which turned out to be Balthazar. Dave nervously explained that he was just trying to search for his note, trying to play it cool. Balthazar looked at him closely and asked him how the note reached his place. He was startled to hear about how it reached there, as Dave told him it was pure coincidence. Balthazar told him that it was coincidence which he was after all those years, and then handed him the ancient dragon-shaped ring. As soon as Dave touched it, the ring magically twirled onto his finger like it was meant for him. Balthazar then tells him that he was the kid he was searching for hundreds of years and quickly goes inside the store searching for something. Confused and not knowing what to do, Dave started playing with the ring, not really realizing what it meant in the first place. He was fiddling with it when it bumped to an old jar-like object, and suddenly Horvath pops out, more powerful than before and very angry as he had been trapped inside it for years. Balthazar was on his feet right away and began to fight with Horvath using his magic. The shop turned into battle and spells flew in each direction, shaking all the shelves and the air filled with sparks. Dave froze there holding the Grim Hold, a strange thing that Horvath would kill to get. In the squabble, another magical item was activated, an ancient urn, which sucked both Balthazar and Horvath inside, trapping them. Dave panicked, tossed the Grim Hold into the street, and bolted back to his class, rambling about magic and sorcerers. But when his teacher and friends checked out the shop, it was just a regular store. No magic, no battle. And of course, they all laughed when they noticed Dave had wet his pants in all the excitement. Fast forward 10 years. Dave is a big-time physics student at New York University. He's still awkward, still keeping that weird dragon ring in his shelf, but he's grown up. And one day in class, he runs into Becky again. It turns out she remembers that wild day at the Arcana Cabana, and to Dave's surprise, doesn't think he's nearly as freakish as he thinks. Later, Becky reveals that she works at the college radio station, and when a lightning strike knocks out their equipment, Dave, being the science nerd he is, steps up to help fix it. Becky is impressed, and just like that, Dave's hope of being friends with her grows. In his private laboratory in the basement, Dave is frantically working on experimenting with something totally cool. He's trying to recreate the rhythms of Becky's song from the radio, that only, instead of regular music, he's using lightning bolts that zap out sound. But while Dave is working, something dangerous happens elsewhere. The Grimhold bought by someone from the store has burst open. Breaking out is the evil sorcerer from 10 years ago, Horvath. Horvath wastes no time and throws the Grimhold out of the window, hoping to smash it. Luckily, Balthazar, who was also entrapped in it, escapes just before it crashes. When Dave returns home, he happens to be shocked. Horvath is sitting there and demands to know where the Grimhold holding Morgana is. Dave is very anxious, but he tells Horvath that he had thrown him down the street at the Arcana Cabana years ago and rushes out of the house. Horvath becomes angry and conjures up a pack of wolves to chase him. Just as they're going to pounce at Dave, they suddenly transform into cute little puppies. Just before Dave can even process that, Balthazar appears on the horizon, riding a huge metal eagle. It swoops down, grabbing Dave and saving him just in time as a train whizzes by. Horvath is not defeated. However, he is still on the hunt. Both of them reach at the rooftop of a building, and Balthazar explains everything about what's happening. Horvath wants to free the evil, ancient sorcerers, Morgana's disciples, while enslaving all the rest. Dave, demented with fear, begs Balthazar to get him out of it. But Balthazar does not seem to care. He sees the ring of the dragon around Dave's finger, which is the mark of the actual Prime Merlinian, and demands that Dave help him in getting the Grimhold. Reluctantly, Dave agreed with the condition that he could later return to his regular life. Using magic, Balthazar tracks the Grimhold to Chinatown. Outside, Dave waits patiently while Balthazar sneaks into a house, where he is tricked by Horvath, disguised as an old Chinese woman. In the struggle, another Morganian, Sun Locke, is accidentally released from the Grimhold. But Balthazar quickly knocks him out of the building. In the street, a dragon-costumed rally was going on, and Sun Locke uses his magic belt to make the costume into an actual dragon breathing fire. This real dragon chases Dave. In the beginning, Dave is unable to use his magic. Just in time, though, he throws a fireball at the dragon, defeating Sun Locke. Meanwhile, Balthazar binds Horvath up and takes the Grimhold. He makes good on his bargain and tells Dave that he's free to resume his old life and return the ring. Dave has changed his mind. He asks Balthazar to train him as a genuine sorcerer, not for seeking the dark magic, but being thrilled about what he's learned. Balthazar agrees and conceals the Grimhold in Dave's lab. Later, he starts teaching Dave the rudiments of magic. Dave enters Merlin's circle formally, becoming Balthazar's apprentice. As the training commences, Balthazar informs that all sorcerers require a ring to cast their magic, but Balthazar didn't require one as he had become so powerful that magic comes within himself. Dave learns how to cast plasma bolts and even control lightning soon enough. Horvath is scheming across town. He searches for more wicked sorcerers and reaches a mansion of a knock-off magician, Drake Stone. With the alliance he has formed with him, Horvath will find the people to complete his army. Meanwhile, Dave becomes bold. One night, he sits down to an early dinner near Becky's radio station when he spots her. He goes over to her, and they talk. They get into the subway, and a mugger suddenly grabs her bag. Instinctively, Dave chases the mugger, using his magic clumsily, yet effectually to stop the thief and recover Becky's possessions. She is totally impressed, particularly since Dave is much smaller than the mugger. Dave invites Becky to his lab to study physics. To his surprise, she agrees. The next day when she arrives, he introduces Balthazar as his uncle, so things remain simple. To be interesting, Dave puts on a cool musical show with the Tesla coils playing the same song Becky had played on the radio, and she's amazed. But when the next day arrives, chaos strikes again. Drake Stone confronts Dave in the bathroom in the university, and he attacks him with magic. Horvath then arrives on the scene, threatening to kill Dave if he does not tell him where Balthazar had hid the Grimhold of Morgana. Just when it seems that all is lost, Balthazar bursts in, knocks Drake out, and traps Horvath inside a bathroom mirror. Back at the lab, Balthazar tells Dave the truth. The Grimhold one which Horvath is after holds Morgana, an evil sorceress who wants to take over the world by raising an army of the dead. He also reminds Dave that he's the Prime Merlinian, the special sorcerer destined to have powers equal to Merlin, and that he just needed to focus and believe in himself. Realizing Becky is about to arrive, Dave freaks out because the lab is a total mess. He tries cleaning up but gets frustrated. So, he uses a spell to bring the brooms and mops to life to clean while he takes a quick shower. But when he comes back, the magic goes haywire. The brooms have flooded the lab, and things are even worse than before. When Becky shows up, Dave has no choice but to send her away. Things get dangerous when Dave nearly electrocutes himself with his own equipment. Luckily, Balthazar arrives just in time, waving his hand to magically fix everything. He scolds Dave for misusing magic, and they get into a heated argument. Dave, tired of all the pressure, tells Balthazar he's not the right guy to be the Prime Merlinian and storms out of the lab. Meanwhile, Horvath finds Dave's school records and tracks down his secret lab. Feeling guilty about canceling his date with Becky, Dave watches her hanging out with her friends, but is too upset to talk to her. Becky notices and follows him to the roof of the Chrysler building, where she tells him she's impressed with all the effort he's made to get close to her. Back at the lab, Balthazar is attacked by Drake, who's disguised as Dave. While Balthazar is trapped, Horvath shows up and casts a smoke spell, revealing Morgana's hidden Grimhold. Horvath also confesses that he betrayed Merlin long ago because he was heartbroken. Veronica, who Horvath loved, chose Balthazar over him. Balthazar frees himself, but Horvath launches a set of flying knives at him. Just in time, Dave arrives and uses his magic to stop the knives from hitting Balthazar. Horvath and Drake escape, leading to a magical car chase. Dave complains about how slow their car is, so Balthazar uses a spell to turn it into a supercar. During the chase, Horvath uses magic to blend his car in with the taxis on the road, but Balthazar tells Dave to focus on the Grimhold to find it. Dave moves the ring, and the Grimhold shifts, revealing Horvath's position. In response, Horvath upgrades his own car and casts a smoke spell to blind Balthazar. Eventually, Horvath gets his revenge by trapping Dave and Balthazar inside a mirror, but they manage to escape through their reflection. However, Dave accidentally transforms their car into an old, beat-up 73 Pinto, which gets crushed by Horvath and Drake's truck, and the villains get away. After stealing Drake's powers and ring, Horvath releases another powerful sorceress, Abigail Williams, who kidnaps Becky from her radio station. Horvath kills Abigail once he gets what he wants and takes her necklace. Dave and Balthazar track down Drake's apartment, where Balthazar gets trapped in a magical rug while Dave retrieves the Grimhold. As Dave tries to escape, he's confronted by Horvath, who's holding Becky hostage. Horvath forces Dave to give him both the Grimhold and his dragon ring to save Becky. Reluctantly, Dave agrees. Balthazar escapes his trap, but arrives too late to stop Horvath. Understanding Dave's choice, Balthazar says he would have done the same thing to protect someone he loves. Balthazar decides to go after Horvath alone, believing Dave can't fight without his ring. But Dave, determined to help, explains everything to Becky, who wants to be involved. Together, they upgrade Balthazar's car with Tesla coils, and Dave finds a note along with a necklace meant for Veronica. The trio then heads to Battery Park, where Horvath starts to release Morgana. Morgana, still possessing Veronica's body, starts a ritual to raise the dead by creating a giant circle of magic. Dave tells Becky to climb to the top of a building and move the antenna to disrupt the ritual. Meanwhile, Balthazar sneaks into the park, but is spotted by Horvath. The two former friends clash in an epic battle, while Morgana's ritual slowly starts to revive sorcerers all over the world. Horvath summons a massive steel bull to attack Balthazar, but Dave arrives just in time, crashing into Horvath with Balthazar's car. The steel eagle swoops in and carries the bull away. Just before Morgana's ritual is complete, Becky moves the antenna, disrupting the ceremony and knocking Morgana unconscious. Balthazar tries to absorb Morgana's soul from Veronica's body, freeing Veronica at last. But Morgana gets out of Balthazar's body, and now in her own body, blasts the group with fire. Dave, having finally unlocked his full potential, manages to block the attack without his ring. Morgana fires a powerful plasma bolt at the group, and Balthazar takes the hit to protect Veronica. With Balthazar down, Dave faces Morgana alone. He shoots bolts against her, but none of it seemed to touch Morgana. Using his knowledge of physics, Dave decides to attack Morgana with high-voltage thunderbolts, finally defeating her with a devastating strike. Although Balthazar dies from his injuries, Dave uses his newfound magic powers to bring him back to life. Balthazar and Veronica reunite after hundreds of years. In the end, Dave and Becky kiss, and Becky reveals that she's accepted him as her boyfriend, just like the note Dave gave her 10 years ago.